Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Ivan here, and sorry I haven't been making videos lately, but just been busy with stuff and life in general. Haven't had a lot of time to pick up a deck and play, and I kind of was hoping that the ban list would be out by now, but Konami recently said that the ban list probably won't be out till the end of April, and there's a new set coming out, Dual Power, which is gonna have a bunch of cool new cards, a bunch of cool reprints, so people can play with cards that were kind of expensive before. And I decided to profile a deck that I've always really liked. I used to play this deck back in the day when it was meta, I guess you could say. It was probably the first meta deck I ever played. Back then, I used to consistently top locals with card create Geargias. And I guess I became kind of known as like the Geargia guy. But that version of the deck, I might profile it later on, but I'm just having a lot of difficulty with it because now with the new Master Rule 4 rule where you have to play links and stuff like that, it just made the deck kind of unplayable because unless we get like some crazy like extender type card or we get a link monster pretty soon, I just think that version of the deck's not playable at the moment. So I decided to play this more like a sub-tier type deck where you sit on your one monster that gives you pluses and you try to protect it as much as you can and just play a bunch of back row and hand traps and annoying stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna just get into it, and this profile is gonna be a little bit longer than most of the other ones just because I want to explain stuff. And yeah, so for the first card, it's 3 Geargia Arsenal. He's basically like Lone Fire Blossom. He can pop himself or tribute himself to summon any Geargia monster from your deck. And he also has an effect that he gains 200 attack for every Geargia monster that you control. So he's also like the biggest, most attack one. He's like 1500. He's most of the time going to get you your Geargia armor. This card used to be just so dumb back in the day, but now it's just really, really slow. I wish that the Geargias would get like a field spell, something like the Hidden City that can flip monsters up and down, or let them get their effects without being flipped, something like that. And Geargia armor, he's got a 1900 booty. Basically, he can flip himself back once a turn, and when he's flipped up, you can add any Geargia monster from your deck to your hand. So this is pretty much the monster you want to protect because he's gonna get you all your pluses. Then 3 Geargia Accelerator. You can special summon him if you control a Geargia monster from your hand, and also whenever it's like destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add another Geargia from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty much like the best Geargia guy, I guess you could say, to draw, because you can special. His effect is not once a turn, so if you have 2 of these in your hand, you can special summon both of them. Then I'm playing 2 Geargia Augur. This is one of the newer, but it's like freaking like 4 or 5 years old already. Basically, he's a Stratos. Whenever he's normal summoned, you can add any level 4 Earth Machine to your hand, but he has a really, really bad restriction on him that for that rest of that turn, you can't declare an attack, and you also can't special summon, or you can't summon anything besides machine monsters, which really, really made this card kind of bad, to be honest. But in this version of the deck, it's more like control based. So the reason I'm playing only 2 instead of 3 is because 3 is just so cloggy, and you don't want to see this card at multiples in your hand. Then for the smaller Gearganos, I'm playing 3 of the Mark II. He's basically like a Wolfbark card. Whenever he's normal summoned, you can special summon one of your Geargias from either your hand or from your graveyard. This card's really good. It's mostly for the Geargia gear though. And then 1 Geargano, the OG one. You can tribute him to special summon any Geargia from your graveyard. These cards are pretty decent, but you really don't want to draw them. And I'm not playing the Mark III because that card sucks. It's just not good. It only gets its effect if it's summoned by the effect of a Geargia monster. And most of the time, you don't have either of these guys in the graveyard, and you don't want to draw that card, so it's just not good. Then I'm playing 2 Machina Fortress because this deck has like almost no attack power, and I was deciding between Machine of Fortress or between limiter removal. And I'm not playing the gear frame because I just think that you have enough cards in your deck where you can draw into one of these and just summon them out by discarding stuff from your hand. And if you didn't know, you can use himself for cost. Like, let's say you have these two in hand. You discard both of them, and you can summon Machine of Fortress out because it doesn't say where you summon it from. It doesn't matter where you summon it from, I mean. So if you discard it, you're basically playing its cost by itself. That's it for the real monsters. Now for hand traps, I'm playing 3 Ash Blossom. Can't wait to upgrade these from commons to something hollow when the dual power comes out, because they're going to get a little bit cheaper. And nothing's wrong with playing commons in a deck. Like, I know it's just a freaking piece of cardboard. It still has the same effect. But I just don't like how it looks in common, to be honest. The same thing with Effect Veiler. If they weren't so expensive, I would have hollowed them out a long time ago. So 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Ash. I think they're the best hand traps in the game right now. And I don't have impermanence. If I did, I'd probably be playing those instead. Then for the spells, 2 Called by the Grave, only 2. Because honestly, this isn't like a combo-based deck. But I just think this card's just so good right now. Everybody's playing a bunch of hand traps in their deck. And it just also works against, like, this deck likes to go first. So if you could set it and then your opponent does something with like a monster in the graveyard, you can banish it. This is like my favorite card in the deck, Iron Draw. This card was, you know, a machine freaking draw card. Like, I wish it was like a Lure of Darkness, but that'd be too good. This card, if you control exactly 2 machine monsters, then you can draw 2 cards. But then for the rest of the turn, you can only summon 1 more time. And you can only use one of these once per turn. So it does have a couple of bad drawbacks on it. But like, the whole play that most of the time that you want to do with that is you have one of these in your hand. And then you summon your Augur to search your Accelerator. You special summon the Accelerator. You play your Iron Draw. You draw your 2 cards. Then you like Exceed summons these into Geargia X. And then you get another card from that. So it's like a plus, a little bit of a plus to, you know, draw into more traps, more cards that you can use, because this deck is really slow, because you have to wait your opponent's turn for Geargia armor to go off. And honestly, there's no like OTK like for this deck unless you draw like a crazy ass hand. So you have to basically just grind your opponent out, make them use their resources and stuff like that. Then 1 Monster Reborn for the last spell. I was going to try out Pot of Desires, but I just kept freaking banishing all the Geargianos, which is something I didn't want to do. It is bad drawing them, but it's not as bad as banishing them. For the traps, 3 Geargia Gear. This card's, I think, still freaking insane. Basically, it's a rescue rabbit for Geargianos. Whenever you play this, you special summon 2 Geargiano monsters from your deck, and they become level 4. Which doesn't really, you know, you do play a couple of rank 4s, but that doesn't really come up too often. Most of the time, it's just really good. Then 3 Rivalry of Warlords, because you need to play Floodgates, and everything in this deck is machine, and most of your cards limit you and only play machines. So you're going to end up just playing one type of monster. So that's why you want to play Rivalry. Then 3 Compulse. I wanted like a chainable trap card you could play that could just get rid of stuff like Colossus right away. I was debating between this and between Storming Mirror Force, but in the end I just decided that the evac device was just better because it just has more uses. It is at 3, so I thought, you know, finally being able to play a deck that can actually use this. 2 Solemn Strike, Warning, and Judgment. You know, the Judgment package. I don't play 3 Solemn Strike because it was just getting so cloggy. And then 1 Imperial Order because you don't play, I think I play like 5 spells and they all really honestly don't matter except for probably Iron Draw. That's it for the deck. It's 42 cards. You know, it runs pretty consistent, but there's just so many times where like in playtesting, now that everybody and their mama is playing Kaijus, they freaking kaiju away your freaking armor, which is annoying as hell. And from there, you just have to, get lucky, I guess, and draw into your good cards. But I don't know. Like I said, this deck's just for fun. It's never going to be like a meta deck unless if it gets some crazy good support, which I'm hoping, because, a bunch of other archetypes from this format, stuff like Mermails, stuff like Madolche, have all gotten a Link Monster, and I'm still waiting for this deck to get a Link Monster, or, just something good in general. Let's go into the extra deck. 2 Geargia X. I still wish I had my secrets, because these supers look super crappy, I guess. This card's always just going to be good because it lets you search any machine from your deck. Biz Dweller, this card's really, really good right now. Tornado Dragon, because you can get rid of back row and stuff like that. Excitonite, I'm really, really surprised that nobody's actually playing this card. Like, I can see why, because it's just so bad against most of the top tier decks, because most monsters have some form of protection, or they float, or something crazy like that. So this card's not as good as it used to be. Baguska, this card is actually really, really good in this deck, because you can make it most of the time. Just stall on them, and to get, like, a way to get rid of their monster, or against like the Thunder Dragon matchup, you can make this, and you can stop them from doing a bunch of their crazy plays. Then the Utopia and Utopia the Lightning, crazy good. Just helps you get over stuff. Randomly, this can actually come up to make you win games, because this is like probably the only way you're going to put up a bunch of damage. Then for the links, Mrs. Radiant, because everything's Earth, and it adds attack, which is something that this deck really needs. Underclock Taker, because it's just generic and good. Cleave Fort, because everything's machine. And this card's actually really good against like Sky Strikers. Can't wait to get the Ultra one from Dual Power. Nightmare Cerberus and Nightmare Phoenix. Just good generic Link 2s that can get rid of problem cards. Decode Talker, this is probably going to become something else, but I don't know what yet. I want to play like a Borlo Dragon or something like that. But honestly, I almost never would make a Link 4. But I guess I just have to look at the new set and see if there's any like good stuff in there. And then one Topological Trisbania. This card's really good with Geargia gear, because when you make it and then you set your Geargia gear and then you summon it, and then against certain decks you can chain the Geargia gear and get rid of all their back row. And yeah, that's it for the extra deck. For the side deck that I just threw together like 5 minutes ago, triple Lancia, because that card's dumb. Double Pancatrops, because they'll almost always make you go second, and it's just a free special summon. DD Crow, because this card's just really good against a bunch of the decks right now. 3 Forbidden Lance, because you don't want to lose to stupid Artifact Scythe. And this card's just really good in general. There's been a bunch of times where I've Forbidden Chalice, like Crystal Wing, and Crystal Wing can only negate monster effects, which I think that's why it's not as good as the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. But now that Hot Red Dragon Archfiend got a reprint, I think everybody's going to be playing that. So this card might not be as good. 2 Twin Twisters, because against random back row decks, it's just good. And then for the last card, 3 Goes in Match, because Goes in Match is good, because this deck is all Earth. So yeah, guys, like I said, I'm trying to build a version of this deck that can, be consistent in, just drawing cards and setting up good freaking boards, just stunning your opponent as much as you can. I really wish that this deck would get support so I can play it more consistently, but it is a nice, fun deck, and, a lot of people will underestimate you and say that this deck is trash, and then they lose to you. I'm still testing on the Card Curry version. It's just been really hard to find a build that I really, really like, because it's just so, like I said, inconsistent, because you have to play bad cards so you can get your link zone set up, because you need like 2 or 3 open arrows for you to be able to make the OTK board with like 2 berets, and then what do you call it, a burrito. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys like the deck profile. Sorry that it ran a little bit longer than the other ones usually do, but this is just the deck that I've always really liked, and I like talking about it a lot. And it's, I'm not gonna say that it's never gonna be competitive, because you don't know what kind of support can be coming up or anything like that. And yeah, just till next time, guys. This is your boy Ivan. I'll see you guys later.